Joe Burrow made his first public comments since having surgery 1 week ago today. Plus, the Bengals could have a new starter on Monday Night Football. Let's get to all of it right now on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapine of BengalsTalk.com. Outside of Paycor Stadium, this used to be my old training camp spot for our day ones. I used to record right here, Paycor Stadium, right there, and I get a little shade to it as well. It's perfect. The Bengals currently practicing as I'm recording this video. Obviously, Joe Burrow isn't practicing. Joe Burrow underwent surgery a week ago, and I loved hearing from Joe Burrow today. I'm sure you did, or maybe it was heartbreaking to see what he wrote on Instagram. But honestly, it's one of those things that I love about Joe, because he gives you an idea of his mindset and his thought process and how the game can be heartbreaking, which is what he said. And then it's the latter part that I want to focus on. And I think it's a really important part, because yes, football can be heartbreaking. Injuries can be heartbreaking. And if you're watching on YouTube, not listening, you could see his post that Andrew put up there. But it's the latter. It's the see you soon that I really want to focus on. Because whether it was last week's episode of End of the Jungle, whether it's multiple videos on here, whether it was our sit down with Dr. Brandon Bowers, I know what Joe's mindset has been throughout this process. And it's always been thinking, all right, how do I get back? When's the quickest I could get back? How can I get back? I plan on returning this season. And so the see you soon is the part that I want to focus on, because Joe Burrow, ladies and gentlemen, plans on returning this year. Joe Burrow plans on coming back. His goal is to come back. That's why he's already starting rehab. Jake Browning, we posted it yesterday. He's asked, hey, did Joe say anything to you about the film where he had the worst loss in franchise history? And he's like, no, he's busy with rehab. Joe Burrow locked in. Joe Burrow focused. Joe Burrow is not thinking about, oh man, is this another injury? Should I stop playing? It was never a thought. It's the other way. Joe Burrow planning his comeback, and hopefully you are aware of that if you watch us or listen to us. But I thought it was very, very relevant. Now, the next question is, when you see that post, how likely is it that he does return? We sat down with Dr. Brandon Bowers last week. The entire video is on our YouTube channel. The entire video is on our podcast feed. But here's a clip of it, Dr. Brandon Bowers, on the likelihood that Joe Burrow could return this season.
I think the 12 weeks that we've seen from the national pundits all across ESPN and other outlets, if everything goes perfect, I think 12 weeks can happen. If there's any sort of hitches in the giddy-up or snags along the way, I do think it takes a little bit longer than that. I think the Bengals also have to consider, as they get later into the season, to a week 16, 17, and 18, what their playoff picture position is. And is it worth it if he's close to ready or good enough to be ready to play? Is it worth it to trot him back out there if they're on the cusp of the playoffs? But I think 12 weeks at minimum is accurate. I do believe it may take a little bit longer than that, but a lot of factors to weigh in here.
It sounds like it's realistic to think that Joe could return at some point this season, assuming the Bengals are playing meaningful football. Is that fair?
I think it's fair. Again, to the point that I made earlier, I think over the next 12 weeks, the timeline that was given initially, I think everything needs to go right for him to have a chance if the Bengals are playing meaningful football. If there's any sort of setback in his rehab, or something gets worse, or something else flares up, then I think that 12-week timeline is out the window and we can put a bow on Joe Burrow's 2025 season. But if everything goes right, I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility. I think the chance is just very small.
And that makes sense. Look, the Bengals have to win games. They do. Shocker. They have to win games. They're 2-1. We're going to have a what to watch for on Saturday for you, what we're going to be watching for on Monday night. But they're 2-1, and this is a huge, huge game where if you could get to 3-1, you feel pretty darn good about the spot you're in considering the circumstances. Tall task, tough task, easier said than done, but it can be done. But let's get the latest on, what could be a new starter on offense and where the Bengals are out, because they're going to be shorthanded on defense for a second straight week. We will get to that coming up next. This video is brought to you by Win-Win Athletics. Check them out, winwinathletics.com, the best flag football gear on the planet. I tell everyone all the time, and whether you're watching or listening, you can't guard me. And especially if we're playing flag football, there's no way you could guard me. Be unguardable with Win-Win Athletics. I keep telling you, it's the best flag football gear on the planet. And if you check them out today, well, you can get their flag football kit. And with the weather changing, with football season here, it's the perfect time to check them out at winwinathletics.com. All right, let's get to really what I think is a huge storyline going into Monday night. I expect the Bengals to have a new starting right guard. I expect fifth-round pick Jalen Rivers to start. The Bengals haven't come out and said that, but I think all indicators point toward that, and I would expect that to happen. So what does that mean? That means that it's the third starting right guard in 4 games. That means that you're talking about a fifth-round rookie starting on the road at Mile High, elevation, prime time against a really good defensive front. And we'll see, because they'll be starting 2 rookies, Dylan Fairchild and Jalen Rivers, if that's the case, at both guard spots. But regardless, I think what's been clear in that locker room is how much this offensive line knows they stunk last week and how they know they have to be better. And they better be way more physical. They're going to have to be, because Nick Bonito is a monster. And so off the edge, whether it's Orlando Brown Jr. or Amarius Mims, Bonito just wins. Speed, strength, athleticism, the way he can bend. It's tough. They have a bunch of other guys as well, so this entire offensive line is going to have to play better, because you have to get Chase Brown going. You have to get this offense moving in the right direction. And so Jalen Rivers, expect to see him. I don't expect to see Shamar Stewart. I think Shamar Stewart's going to miss another week. I think he has a chance to play against Detroit, but going to miss another week. I saw him at practice yesterday, and he was standing there, obviously not practicing. And it's one of those things. It stinks, but it also opens up the door for Myles Murphy, who performed well last week, and Chris Jenkins performed well last week. And that's what this Bengals team needs. They need multiple guys to step up in that defensive line room and find a way to get after Bo Nix, to force Bo Nix to make mistakes, to force Bo Nix to throw a couple interceptions. And the secondary needs to be ready. So I know I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit to what to watch for, but that's got to be the mindset here. In this game, with the defense, with everything that's going on offense. Yeah, the offense has to play better. They're going to have to be productive. They're going to have to get their stars going. But, man, oh, man, this defense, they're going to have to be disruptive and maybe get a stop on the first drive of the game. Just a suggestion. They haven't done that yet. 3 touchdowns, 3 first possessions so far this season. Joe Burrow making his way back. Hopefully the Bengals give him a chance to come back. Right? Hopefully the Bengals give him a chance to come back. We'll see if they do. We're going to have you covered every step of the way right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell. And until next time, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Cincinnati Bengals Talk.